Good morning, all of you. So, I hope my screen is also visible and my voice is reaching to you people. So, we have started our last unit yesterday, right? So, I think we have discussed last lecture what is the meaning of benchmarking. Then we have seen now quality management system, that is QMS, right? So, we have seen its meaning of benchmarking. So, borrowing, adapting, and refining was the conclusion that we have seen. Fair benchmarking is applicable various fields also we have seen. Then we have seen like while implementing the uh, QMS, we should remember certain factors. That factors we have seen various advantages, right? Like it inspires manager. There is a continuous improvement. Superior performance can be achieved. Like that, various advantages we have seen. There were also certain limitation, like people criticize or uh, criticism is occurred in benchmarking, like people say think you are copying others, so that kind of criticism is there. And we have seen the conclusion, like more than 60% organization in world they are using this benchmarking, even though it is not recommended, right? So it is not a substitute for innovation. So innovation, even though you are copying others, you don't dependent on it, you have to go for innovation. So that kind of thing we have seen. Also we have discussed quality management system, right? So it is a system that maintain the documents, procedures, and responsibility to achieve the quality policy and objective of the organization. That we have discussed. We have seen its purpose also. Then we have seen various benefits if you implement QMS. Then what are the benefits to your organization, that we had discussed. Then various elements of QMS also we have seen. Then we have seen how to establish and implement QMS, like designing, building, deploying, controlling, measure, review, improve. So like that, various uh, steps you can say, like of establishing QMS that we have seen, right? So, and I think we were at this point, like environmental management system. So environmental management system is uh, things should come in your mind, like is it like pollution related thing? It's true, whatever you guessed, it is true. So friends, environment is the thing in which your organization is operating, right? So your organization is in environment. So you people are, as an organization, you are doing emissions of various things. You are having much more scrap. You are having many waste things, waste waters, processed water, right? Hazardous water, chemical ingredient water. You people are using energy. Through that, there may be the heat generation. You people are transporting. Through that, maybe you are consuming diesel, petrol, and you people may consume the materials also, like diesel, petrol, even a non-consumable material also are there. So that you are consuming the material. So due to this, there is a wastage, there is a emission, right? There is a increase in temperature. Definitely, this thing is going to happen, harm to our environment. So that's why environment management system is very important, and every organization should have it. Getting, so it is a structured framework. This EMS or environmental management system is a structured framework for managing an organization and its significant environment impact. You people have to think about your organization and how much impact you are making on environment. Definitely, every organization is making impact on the environment. You people are, especially in the form of emissions, there is a huge environmental damage people are doing. But still, there is a certain norms that you people have to follow. And for that purpose, environmental management system plays important role, and you have to establish this system in your organization. Let it be your own organization, or let it be your employee in your any of the organization. If you are working as a production manager, so it's your role to reduce the wastage, reduce the emissions, reduce the use of energy, and consume the metal. Obviously, you are going to send wastage emissions in environment, but if you do the processing on it, so there will be the less hazard to environment. So that's why environmental management system is one of the important element in the, you can say, in the every organization. So all of us know there is a need of environmental management system. So why? There are so many reasons. Before that, try to understand environment. What is the environment? Once again, I am telling, surrounding in which your organization is operating or working, you can say. That is environment. And most of the industries, they are making this environment polluted, especially in mechanical, chemical industry. So service industries, that way, there is a less hazards, we can say. But in production industries, chemical industries, mechanical industries, there is a huge damage people are doing to environment. So why there is need of environmental management system? First thing is that pollution is increasing day by day. You can see CO2 emission is increasing, right? So that's why there is a need of environmental management system. Even air pollution, especially, you can say, there are so many dust particle, there are so many carbon particle in environment, right? So this is air pollution. Noise pollution, maybe if you stay around the forging industry, so just listen the voice, right? So huge noise is coming out of it. Almost not only forging industry I am giving example, but almost all industries, they make the noise, maybe their machinery noise, right? So that is also one kind of pollution. Land pollution, people are doing land pollution. Maybe you people are sending water, polluted water on land. Maybe you are sending a certain waste, spreading a certain waste on the surface of land. So land is getting polluted. So that's why there is need of EMS. Water pollution, definitely. Whatever water, most of the industries need water to do the certain processes, right? And after that, there is a certain waste water coming out. So that water you are disposing somewhere, maybe in river. So if you see the water quality everywhere, let it be in village, let it be in urban area, see the value of TDS. I think in your childhood, uh, we people never had used the uh, water filters, but nowadays it is one of the important device in every home. Water filter is essential because huge amount of TDS is there in water. Why this is so? Because water gets polluted. It is used by many of the industries. Means they are not processing it. They are sending in environment. So illegal thing, unethical thing people are doing. Even though it is processed, still it is a polluted water, right? And even not industry. So there are so many reasons. That's why water pollution is there. So that should be reduced. So that is why environment management system is essential. Ozone depletion, all of us are knowing ozone layer is getting depleted. So this is also one of the reasons. So there are so many reasons. That's why this EMS is important for us, right? And that's why national and international organizations have started discussion on this EMS. So if you adopt this EMS, it help in your organization, like you will improve environmental performance, manage and improve environmental performance around your company, at least in your zone, not world's environment. Obviously it is going to impact the whole environment, but around your area, if you have EMS, then definitely environmental performance will increase. Then if you have EMS, then you can follow the regulation, or you will match with whatever regulations are there from government, or whatever regulations are there from international organizations. Environmental laws are there, so you will comply with that, you will match with that, or you will try to follow it. Then you people can save money through well managed use of resources. So you can see most of the time unnecessary wastage are there. Optimized use of energy is not there. Optimized use of material, optimized use of water. So as it is available, we are using unlimitedly. Let us take example, even in our home. In rainy days, ample water is available. We use like anything. But in summer season, like today, so around us there is a lack of water, right? So water is not continuously available or in ample amount. Then we reduce its use. So that is in industry also. When they have resources available, they use unlimitedly. So there should be a certain rules, regulations, how much it should be used. It should be proven by research. किती मटेरियल वापरलं पाहिजे, किती वॉटर वापरलं पाहिजे, ते कसं प्रोसेस केलं पाहिजे, त्याचा यूज कुठल्या ठिकाणी केला पाहिजे, राईट? सो if you have optimized use of the resources, then definitely there will not be a pollution. उगं बॉयलर पेटवून ठेवायचं, नाही लागत तरी पेटवून ठेवायचं, टाकायचं त्याच्यामध्ये बघायला, होणारच धूर, पोल्युशन होणारच, राईट? बट why people, if people will follow certain standards, like how much heat we need, how much steam we need, then how much time boiler should be run, so that optimized study is very important. And if you implement that, then definitely there is a saving in a money, as you are using your resources fully optimized. And whatever environment, even this system is help you to whatever changes are happening in environment, that you can get adopted, right? So that's why EMS is a important for you people. You can say it is a technique related to pollution. So if you see the background of EMS, basically in 1991, see very early, means very late you can say that way. But earlier this industrialization was not there, so no issue. But in 1991, ISO is everybody is knowing, right? So they formed the strategic advisory group on environment. So SAGE, SAGE is the name of that uh, group, advisory group, which leads to formation of technical committee. So they have given the name to the technical committee, that is TC 207 in 1992, right? So around, you can say like maybe how many years ago? Maybe 30 years you can say, 29 years ago. So they have formed this TC 207 in 1992. The mission of this particular TC 207 is to develop the standards for EMS, which was identified as ISO 14000 and ISO 9000. So they have given two names. So we have seen like ISO 9000, ISO 2000, ISO 19000. So like that, so they have given names to these two ISO, that is ISO 14000 and ISO 9000 standards. So TC 207 committee has done this task, and they have developed the EMS standards. So for they have formed various committees also under them, subcommittees you can say, and they have developed certain standards. So we are not going to detail learn the what are the standards, but try to understand there are certain standards related to this EMS, means pollution related, water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, so a variety of things. So they have developed certain committees. So total 6 committees they have established. So first committee itself was a environmental management system, so that is EMS. And for various organization they have recommended this EMS, like every organization should have EMS in their organization. They should follow certain standards which are given in the EMS. Then next committee is their environmental auditing. Then next one is a environmental labeling, environmental performance evaluation, life cycle assessment, terms and condition. So like that they have various committees in their uh, you can say jurisdiction. So ISO 14,000 and ISO 19,000 was developed by the TC 2007, and they have certain subcommittees also. So first committee itself is a EMS. So ISO 40,000 series is basically divided into two separate areas. First one is a organizational evaluation standards, and second one is a product evaluation standards. So under the organizational evaluation standards, they have three ISOs or sections you can say. So let us see. First one is the environmental management system. So ISO 14,000 again divided into two parts. That is a ISO 14,001. So there you will get specification related to environmental management system. If you refer the ISO 14,001, so you will get EMS specifications, and if you refer the ISO 14,004, then you will get the general guidelines. Okay, related to EMS in the organization, and remaining are like environmental auditing. There you will get guidelines of auditing, like how auditing should be done. So it will be available in ISO 19,011. Then environmental performance evaluation. So 14,031 guidelines, performance related evaluation. You will get all guidelines in a 14,031. Okay, so like that, organizational evaluation standards are available. So specifically, we were discussing about the EMS. So remember, if you refer the 14,001 and 14,004, then you will get the all guidelines and specification related to EMS for various organizations. Then global benefits of EMS. What the benefits are there of EMS? First thing is that improve environmental performance of planet Earth. So if everybody will start using EMS, they will reduce the pollution due to them, and if they start caring about the environment, ultimately the performance of planet on which we are living, so its performance will get increased. So there will not be any problem to this particular planet. Also, there is a need for environmental management, and on that you will have same opinion. Everybody will have same opinion, and so everybody will follow all the same terminologies. Okay, so another benefit is that, like environments, improved environment you will get. Recently you can say, due to lockdown in last year, right? So what are the benefits of it? you can say this pollution percentage is reduced. So means definitely there is a pollution due to this various industries specifically, right? So environment will get improved. Then again, people will start establishing regulatory compliance. Means uh, certain rules regulation should be there for everything. तुम्ही किती प्रोडक्शन करायचं. If there is a chemical zone, means you should not do whatever you want to do. There should be a certain limitation. How much production should be done in this particular zone? How much production should be done on other zones, so that this pollution will not be concentrated at one place. Then conservation of material and energy input. Definitely, if you start using the optimized material, so conservation of all materials will, and even of energy will also happen. And there will be the improvement in community relationship. तुम्ही खूप प्रोडक्शन करता, तुम्ही खूप पोल्युशन करता. So that kind of relation will not be there. So good relation, everybody will follow same standards, everybody will follow the norms. Definitely there will not be a problem of community in the world. So that is the EMS. Getting? Everybody understood the concept of EMS? Yes. Getting? Should we proceed? Okay. Let us start discussion on one more interesting bit, that is a QFD, quality function deployment. Okay, so this is a very new bit, uh, and basically it is developed first in 1972 at Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, and later in 1984 at US by Dr. Claving. So this is a you can say method. Basically, it is developed by Japan. So you can say quality related various technique tools. If you see, so most of the things were developed in Japan. So this technique or method is developed by the Dr. Mizuno in 1966. And after that, maybe after 6 years, it was first implemented in various industries and in later on in various countries. So what is this QFD? QFD is helping to transform the voice of the customer into engineering characteristics for a product. What is the meaning of voice of the customer here? What meaning you should take? As it is word wise meaning you should not take. Friends, this voice of the customer is nothing but the demand of the customer. What customer is asking to you. ओरडून ओरडून कस्टमर तुमचा काय सांगतोय तुम्हाला, मला काय पाहिजे ते सांगत असतो, बरोबर. सो दॅट इज अ रिक्वायरमेंट. So here they have given this phrase like voice of the customer. It is nothing but the demand of the customer. So what this QFD is doing? QFD is helping to transform the voice of the customer into engineering characteristics for the product. Every customer is having certain requirements, certain demands in product, right? So it's organization's role to convert that voice of the customer into engineering characteristics. Okay, so this QFD is a structured approach to define customer need or requirement and translating them into a specific plan to produce the product to meet those needs. So how you will convert his voice into, or how you will implement his voice into that particular good or product, you should have specific plan for that to produce that particular product and meet those needs of that particular customer. Okay, so voice of the customer is very very essential. It is nothing but the customer need or requirement, you can say. And QFD must be a customer driven process for planning product or services. Okay, then this customer driven process provides, this QFD provides documentation for decision making process. Okay, now how this voice of customer will reach to you? Obviously through certain documents, through certain feedback, right? Getting, so how every customer cannot come to your organization and tell like I need this, I need that, right? It is quite difficult to every customer to reach to your place. So but through documentation, through feedback, they can reach to you people. Yeah, they can send their voice to your organization, and it's your role to convert that voice as a product characteristics or whatever demand that customer is having. Okay, then the basic main objective of quality function deployment is to understand customer requirement and maximizing positive quality that adds value to customer. So what is expected in QFD? You have to understand or listen the voice of customer. You have to understand the customer requirement, and then you have to maximizing the positive quality, and you should add it. Okay, whatever customer is telling to you, customer is asking to you, you have to prepare the plan, you have to prepare the document, and by understanding his clear requirement, you have to maximize the positive quality, right? So this technique was developed in Japan, so that's why Japan is known for the quality. See, from 1966, count the years, from how many years people were working on quality. That's why now they are well known for the quality of various products. Okay, now what benefits will be there of QFD? First benefit is there, like you will get a systematic way of obtaining information and presenting it. So customer voice is coming to you through certain document. Obviously it is a systematic way through customer feedback, that information will come to you. That information is a systematic, right? Due to QFD you can get the systematic information. Sorry. Okay, then shorter product development cycle. Now how? So if you see the products which you want to develop, it will take longer time because you don't know the what customer is expecting. So for that purpose you need to do the survey. But here in QFD you will get the customer's voice, customer's requirement, and easily you will understand within less time like what customer is want, and you people will start implementing it and you will start developing it. So your product development cycle will be a very small. Then it reduces the considerably startup cost. So now remember, customer is asking something, For startup people, they have to just understand what this customer voice is. Okay, so you can learn from other customers. You have to reach to customers. You have to listen customer voice, that is need of customer, and you people have to अंडरस्टँड देम. आणि जिथं खूप कस्टमरचा आवाज आहे दॅट यू कॅन स्टार्ट. सो डेफिनेटली startup will be easily established due to this QFD. Then fewer engineering changes. Very few engineering changes you need to do because customer is telling everything to you. Okay. Then it reduces the chance of overnight during the design process. In well in advance, customer is telling all the things to you, a requirement he is telling to you. So overnight you need not to work. If customer is itself is telling everything to you, so you have to work regularly. So 11th hour, nobody will ask to add the things, which usually happens in a variety of product. So overnight design is not required. And it is a environment of teamwork. Everybody has to work in a group. Then conscious of decision म्हणजे एकमत निर्णयावरती एकमत त्यांचं होऊन जातं. Because customer itself is telling what they want and you will accepting like yes he want that. So both of you of same opinion and same decision, so there will be a consciousness of decision. Then everything is preserved in writing. Customer is giving feedback in writing, so all documents are there. So this is the QFD benefits. Okay, so have you understood? Remember in short, QFD is nothing but listening the customer voice and implementing that in your organization. It is nothing but the QFD, quality function deployment. Okay, so we have seen in detail its aspects, its history, what should be done, how should be done, how should this QFD should be implemented. Done. Should we proceed? Can you listen me? Should we proceed to next bit? Okay. So Six Sigma, very well known bit to everybody. So can somebody tell me what is the Six Sigma? When we say Six Sigma is there, number of defects in per million, number of defects per million. How many defects are allowed? You can say in Six Sigma per million. 3.4. Okay. So basically Six Sigma is a set of technique and tools for the process improvement. So most of the industries are using this and they are continuously checking like how many defects we are having per million of product. Okay. So basically it was introduced by American engineer Bill Smith while working at a Motorola. Motorola is well-known company, right? So in 1986. In 1995, Jack Welch used in General Electric. So this is also very older technique people were using, and it is a basically discipline statistical based data driven approach and continuous improvement methodology for eliminating defects in a product, process, or services. So Six sigma is one in which 99.99966% of the product manufactured are statistically expected to be free of the defect. In Six Sigma, how many products should be free from the defect? 99.99966% or 3.4 million per product. Something is wrong. In 1 million, 3.4 defects are allowed. That you can say in this way. Okay. So that is Six Sigma. So if you see the various levels of sigma, like 1 sigma, 2 sigma, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you see the defects rate parts per million, in 6 sigma 3.4 parts per million are or defects are allowed. In 5 sigma 233 parts or defects are allowed. Defective products you can say are allowed. In 4 sigma 6210 products, defective products are allowed. In 3 sigma 66,807 components are allowed. In 2 sigma 30 you can say 3 lakh 8,537 components are allowed. And in 1 sigma 6 lakh 90,000 defective components are allowed. Getting? So 5 sigma and 6 sigma. Now people, if you generally, if you compare the competitive level, so this is a world class manufacturing you can say, and 3 sigma 4 sigma is industry average, and 1 sigma and 2 sigma non-competitive. You can say this is a level. So 6 sigma 5 sigma is you can say it is a world class manufacturing. Okay. So friends, one more additional information I want to tell. Lean Sigma certification. So just a minute. So International Association for Six Sigma certification. So you may be knowing IASSC is the International Association for Six Sigma certification. They provide Six Sigma certification. Um, the ASCC certified black belt. So when this certificate you will get in your organization, when full-time statistical problem solving experts are there in your organization, then ASSC certification can be given a black belt. Green belt when it will be there part-time, and those who are helping to black belt people in your organization, so you will get a green belt. Yellow belt when understand basic of Six Sigma, people or experts are understanding Six Sigma basics, then yellow belt can be given. So these exams are designed to measure a person's knowledge of the Lean Sigma methodology, valid for 2 years. So this organization association is going to give Six Sigma certification based on the which kinds of experts are there in your organization, and this certification is valid for only 2 years. Okay, this was the additional information. Getting, so I have told very simple thing related to Six Sigma. It's very introductory part for our syllabus. So let us start one more bit discussion, a very important bit you can say, and most of the time MCQs were asked in this on this particular bit. That is a FMEA, failure mode and effect analysis. So I think this will be the today's last bit of discussion. Maybe tomorrow we can complete this whole chapter. So only 2 bits remain, and including FEM EA, 3 bits remain. Okay, so possibly we'll complete this FEM EA today. So friends, understand the long form of this FEM EA, which was asked most of the time in MCQs. So most of the time people confuse in this long form. So what is it? FMEA, failure mode and effect analysis. Failure mode and effect analysis. So Basically, FMEA is a systematic and proactive method which helps to identify where and how product might fail and to assess the relative impact of different failure. So what is the FMEA? Friends, it is a proactive method. So proactive method means by taking initiative before failure of the product, you people can recognize like कुठं माझा product fail होईल. Okay, कुठं माझा product fail होईल. So that is a failure mode. कसा fail होईल. And to assess the relative impact of different failure. काय impact होईल? If that thing, that product will fail, then what effect will be there? Definitely, if certain thing fails, so then definitely there is hazardous. So doing that analysis is a effect analysis. Okay, so in short, you can say failure mode is nothing but error or defect in the process. Failure mode is nothing but the error or defect in a process or in a product or in a design, you can say. And what is the effect analysis? Effect analysis is the studying the consequences of failure. Means what? If failure is happen, then what will be the its effect? परिणाम, consequences म्हणजे परिणाम. त्या failure काय परिणाम होतील? Definitely, if certain thing will fail in that product will fail, then definitely there may be the hazardous. Let us take example, if car there is a failure of the brake. So you are knowing the severity of what will be the effect, what will be the consequences of failure. Okay, so this FMEA is also having certain history. So let us see that history. So by the early of 1960, contractors of the NASA were using the FMEA under the variety of name. They have given variety of the names to that, but try to understand that common name was the FMEA. So during the 1970, use of FMEA and related techniques spread to the other industries. So this FMEA basically comes from NASA. Okay, so American and Japanese people are known for the quality. So why? So you should understand now. So whatever techniques we are see observing, so we have not seen any of the techniques from Indian people, right? So think on this aspect. This is not part of our syllabus, but you can observe the things. This quality related things we are learning from Japanese people. Adapt it. Nothing wrong in that, right? It can be a benchmarking. So in 1971, NASA prepared a report for the US Geographical Survey recommending the use of FMEA in assessment of the offshore petroleum exploration. So where they have used this in petroleum field, they have used this particular FMEA in 1971. In the late 1970, the Ford Motor introduced the FMEA to the automotive industry for the safety and regulatory consideration. Probably this Ford Motor is the first one who has used the this FMEA and used in the automotive industry. And all of us know like automotive industry why it is important. So accidents, uh, death, if you see the on the road due to automotive this vehicle failure, or that number is earlier it was more but now it is reduced, and nowadays it is due to people mistake or due to traffic. That is another part, but this FMEA was introduced in automotive industry due to safety and regulatory consideration in 1970. Then FMEA methodology is now extensively used in variety of the industries everywhere. FMEA is used everywhere nowadays. Maybe in semiconductor processing, food services, food industry, plastic industry, software industry, healthcare, everywhere. Okay, so It is a very well known thing in every fabrication industry. So FMEA is a important aspect. So this is about its history. Now, phases of FMEA. There are certain phases. After discussing these phases, we may stop the discussion. So, friends, FMEA is having basically three phases, and these phases are known as a severity, occurrence, and detection. सो सिव्हिरिटी कशाला म्हणतो आपण? तीव्रता. त्या फेल्युअरची तीव्रता किती आहे? ऑकरन्स म्हणजे किती वेळा ते आढळतंय, किती वेळा होतंय, अँड कॅन यू डिटेक्ट इट, दॅट इज अ डिटेक्शन. So in FMEA, these three phases are very important: severity, occurrence, and detection. Okay. So now, if you see the example of severity, as far as the FMEA is concerned, so let us take example: brake failure of the car or electrical short circuiting. The ultimate effect of each failure mode need to be considered. Okay, so these may be the examples of failure mode: brake failure of the car, electrical short circuiting. Okay, and what are the failure effects? Degraded performance, maybe noise will be there, maybe injury to the user or hazards to user, right? So that may be the failure effect. We call it as a effect analysis also. So each effect is given the severity number. If things fails, then what is the severity? So from 1 to 10, you have to give the number. So FMEA analysis, try to understand this numbering is very important. So 1 to 10 numbering you have to give from no danger to critical. 1, if it is there, means no danger. Even it is a failed, there is no danger. For example, your machine is brake is failed, belt is broken while operation. Belt pulley drive belt, all of us are knowing. It is having cover. If it is break, then what will happen? Your system will stop working, right? But car brake will fail, then you understand the severity of it. It is very critical, right? If brake is failed of a car on the road, so that severity is very high. So it is a critical issue. So you should give the severity number as a 10. But just this belt is broken on the industry on shop floor. What will happen? Just your line will get stopped. Nothing else. Hazardous thing will not be there. There is no any kind of the failure effect. Very less that way. Okay. So in that case, you can give the number 1. For example, there is a crack in a shaft. No danger that way. It will break there. And even if it is a severe, then you can give the numbering like 2, 3, 4, 5 that. So from how to give severity number of failure or failure effect from 1 to 10, that is a no danger to critical. If things are very critical, is failure effect is very danger, then you can give 10 number. And if there is no danger, even product fails. आता लॅपटॉप आहे, लॅपटॉपची चार्जिंग संपली, failure you can say, but there is no danger to this laptop. I can charge it. Okay, failure of electricity, we can repair it within few minutes like that. Okay, so no danger is there. So in failure mode effect analysis, first phase is there or first part is there, that is the severity. You should understand this severity, give the numbering on 1 to 10. Now तुम्ही म्हणाले याचं काय करायचंय? Actually we have to do the calculation of one number. Okay, so for that purpose these severity numbers are important. Okay, then second one is a occurrence, means how many times it will occur. So it looks at the number of the time failure occur or cause of the failure mode. So occurrence numbering like सारखाच बेल्ट तुटतोय. So definitely this occurrence is multiple time, more time, number of time it is happening. Means what? You have to give the that number as a high, that is a 10. rare to high, that is 1 to 10 numbering you can give. If things are occurrence is very rare, then you can give number 1. And if things failure occurrence is multiple time, it is more time, then you should give the number 10. Okay, and like that, detection also same thing. So if you are able to detect it, the engineer should detect the failure before product reaches to the customer. So it is very important. So detection number D ranks the ability to detect the failure mode in time. Can you detect in time? So one, that number you should give for the fault will be caught on the test. If it is possible to find out the fault, so you give the number. And when 10 number should be given, when fault will be passed to customer undetected. म्हणजे defective product तुमच्या customer ला गेलं. So if you have this 3 numbers, how many numbers? Severity number, occurrence number, and detection number. So based on it, we can calculate the RPN number, that is a risk priority number. Okay, and this is a very significant number. How to calculate RPN? By just multiplication of S into O into D. Getting? So remaining part we will discuss tomorrow. Let us stop here. Thank you.